Hey guys, welcome back to Starcastic. I'm Mark, along with Chris to my right, James to my left. My name is Ryan Chambers. We're the official Dallas Stars podcast of the Hockey Podcast Network. Go and use that promo code THPN next time you go and use their app for special little offers from them. We thank them for being our sponsor. Hey guys, how are y'all doing today?
Great. I did not know that the game was so early. I thought it was at 3, but no, it was at 1.
I thought it was later too.
Yeah, I texted both of y'all earlier, and I was just like, this just feels weird.
It's very weird. Don't
like. It almost seems like 2:00 would be fine. Like 2:00 is like a normal game time for a Saturday matinee, but 1:00? That's just weird. Go figure. But anyways, Dallas Stars pull out the win today, 3-2 in overtime over the Detroit Red Wings, which they look a lot better compared to the last couple of years. I'm kind of scared. I'm kind of scared with what they've got coming, what they've already got. That Berggren kid looks really good. He was probably the best wing out there, in my opinion. But what's y'all's first thoughts coming out of today's game?
Yeah, today's game felt a lot like the Sens game, honestly, in my opinion. The Red Wings played a really similar style, really hard forechecking. There was no room on the ice, especially in the first period when the Wings played their best. It was just Stars couldn't go anywhere. The Wings did a really good job, played within their system, and if they had a little bit more goal scoring power right now, not in the future, then they probably would have won this game in the first period.
Yeah. I mean, I thought that was definitely the case for at least half of the game, but there was the first part of the first period and definitely the third period, the Stars were controlling a lot and getting lots of shots and just not putting them in. So
Agreed.
Part of it for me was also we were continuing our story from the past 3 games where we're just not scoring on our scoring chances.
It felt like for me today that both teams started off pretty decently in the energy department, I guess I should say. In the first 10 minutes, it was very much back and forth. Then in the next 10 minutes in the first period, it was all Detroit. And then as the game progressed and it went on, it seemed like Dallas didn't play very well up to their potential as they could, but they just had just a little bit more energy than Detroit did. And I felt like Detroit kind of screwed themselves over with not having enough energy throughout the game. So that was just my particular opinion, but especially in the third period, you could tell that it looked like Detroit had used all their energy in the first 40 minutes, and Dallas just barely had enough. So that's what I saw.
Honestly, that's what I was really hoping and banking on after I saw the first period. I was like, there's no way that they can play like they did in this first period for the whole game. There's no way. And I was hoping that was true, and it turned out to be the case. So luckily, we could get away with this one.
So getting into the game notes today, you guys, 300 games for Miro, 1,000 games for David Perron. Congratulations to Perron. That's a big deal. Not many players get to 1,000 games. And Detroit comes into this game having won 4 of the last 5 on the road. So that's a little scary statistic for them. And with a Dallas team that's not particularly playing on pace with what they should be, they could be on the wrong end of this game. Thankfully, they weren't. Ottinger at the very beginning of the game and throughout the first period was the best Dallas Star by far in the first period. And if it wasn't for him and a couple of miscues and a couple of missed shots by the Detroit Red Wings, this game could have easily been 5-1, 6-1, 4-1, whatever after the first intermission. What do y'all think about his play in the first period?
Yeah. I thought Otter looked pretty good all night, honestly. He looked very confident like we saw at the beginning of the season tonight, more than anything I thought.
His first period was fantastic.
Yeah, and he had some great saves in there too.
He had a couple of good chances on Larkin. He had one on Perron. He had another one on Berggren with about 5 minutes remaining in the first period. But before we get to that Berggren chance, Larkin actually scores off of the bench. He puts the Wings up 1-0. He's the trailer, as they call it, the guy coming in late. It was a 3-on-2. It was Miro Heiskanen kind of getting caught in the offensive zone, and Larkin does his thing, and he gives his team the 1-0 edge at the beginning.
Yeah, and I think Pavelski went stick on stick with Larkin there a little bit, and it kind of knuckled the puck a little, and I think that might have been what fooled Otter on it, honestly.
Yeah, and he got a stick on it, and it still went top corner. What the heck?
Yeah.
That's pretty lucky.
So after that goal, lots of pressure by Detroit here. They easily should have been up at least 3-1 in my opinion if it wasn't for the play of Jake Ottinger. Dallas would go on the penalty kill. Miro would get 2 minutes for tripping. There's a lot of scary movement by Detroit on that power play. I thought they were going to score several times. They had multiple chances. But after the power play is actually killed off by the Dallas Stars, Gariana finally, we've been seeing it over the past couple of games, and he finally gets rewarded for it. He scores. He goes 5-hole with a great saucer pass by Mason Marchment, and it's completely against the flow of play, in my opinion, you guys. And that goal was huge because it would end the first period only being 1-1. And considering how we played in the first period, that definitely should not have been the case.
Yeah, definitely.
And that was Miller with that tripping, by the way. But yeah, that's just that speed, being able to push up the other direction and get a quick chance like that and just converting on it. So.
And I'm going to toot my own horn here. The past 3 games, when we've been saying Denis Gurianov has been looking better, he's been doing what I said. He's going to the net and he's taking shots. So keep on doing it, and he's moving up the lineup too. I mean, we saw him with the Ben and Johnson line actually.
Yeah, and I thought that looked really good. Honestly, I was surprised that none of us had even thought of anything like that before. He's just been moving between the second and fourth line this whole time, when we can move Delandry up to the second line if we put him on the third. And I thought that looked great.
It looked better than Fox on the second line, that's for sure.
Yeah, I guess we can go ahead and talk about it, how those lines kind of got scrambled a little bit. It happened in the third period, but let's just go ahead and talk about it while we're here. In the third period, it was actually Mason Marchment, Delandry, and Seguin, that's how the season started for the Dallas Stars, that second line. That third line, they switched Dele up, so then Gary goes up to the third line because obviously, just like us, Coach Pete DeBoer is seeing some good things from Gurianov. He's getting slightly rewarded for it. And then we saw Foxa, Glenny, and Keevy back together, which that fourth line is really good. I love seeing those 3 guys together.
It looks better with Foxa on the fourth line. I mean, they got more chances.
I agree.
So overall, all 3 lines look better.
I don't think that Foxa played bad on the second line, but that's not the role that he should be playing, and he's being asked to play a role that he shouldn't be playing.
Kind of what was happening is that Foxa was going in and trying to do the forecheck thing like he does on the fourth line, and then he would go to the top of the O zone, and then Lindell would charge in instead of him. So it was kind of like a weird dynamic going on there. But he switched back to the fourth line, and it looks like he never left.
Yeah, it felt like Seguin and Marchment wanted to pass around the zone, like skilled offensive players, and then Fox just wanted to take it to the boards every time. Like
that's exactly what Fox wanted to do.
So it just didn't work, in my opinion. I was surprised it stayed together for so long. Hopefully that's the end of it.
So ending the first period, Gurianov ends a 10-game goalless drought for him. So it's good to see him back on the score sheet. And it might have looked like it was offsides, and it would have been offsides last year, but with the new rule change, you don't have to keep your skate on the ice. So that's why it was not called offsides on the Gurianov goal, which was definitely to the benefit of the Dallas Stars. And I wanted to ask you all about this. Do you think that Mason Marchment should have drawn a call there with like 10 seconds remaining in the first period?
Mason Marchment should have drawn 3 more calls than we got in the game tonight.
he got elbowed in the face at one point too, right?
Yeah, again.
Yeah, it's his favorite thing to do. Get elbowed in the face.
I know, right? It used to be Dickinson always getting hit in the face with the puck, and now it's Mason Marchment who's kind of taken that role as instead of the puck, it's somebody else's elbow. So anyways, second period, Dallas needs to be way better in this period. And just even at the beginning of the period, I just wrote that Detroit looked way more aggressive than the Dallas Stars did within the first 5 minutes. But slowly throughout the period, it slowly started to get better. And about 14 minutes is kind of when it started clicking. And I think you could look at the Dallas power play for the reason why the Stars started getting going. They got about 3 power plays in that period. One was from Lindstrom. Hintz would get tripped, and I thought he was going to go for a penalty shot, but he didn't really fully have a breakaway. So whatever. And then I think it was it Marchment that got nailed twice in the
face with a double minor.
Yep. So 4-minute power play for the Stars. They got to take advantage here, and you could see the shot differential was starting to go in the Stars' favor. They had been outshot up to this point, And then Ben scores on the power play. Go figure that Jamie Benn would be the power play specialist this year, but he gets it, puts it away, and he puts the Stars up 2-1. What'd y'all think of the goal?
Yep, good goal, good Jamie Benn goal. Good to get the goal from the slot because the Wings forecheck was super aggressive in the defensive zones. They were getting on our guys fast, and we weren't really feeding the middle at all. And we did it one time, and then he scored. So it worked out well. I wish we had done it more during that second period and got more than one goal.
Also, nice to break that long drought for the
sure.
power play at home.
Yeah, hopefully that gets us going for more than just 1 for 4.
So right now, the Dallas Stars are actually 25th in the league in power play percentage at home, which is very strange considering how well
they're
they've
like 5 on the road.
Yep.
Yeah, I think we're like 9th or 10th overall now too. So it's insane how good we are on the road.
We've definitely dropped off. And then to end the period, after a fantastic period by the Dallas Stars, goes completely against the flow of play. Detroit wins the faceoff. It goes back to the point. They take a shot, and then Perron, in his 1,000th game, gets the tip in, ties it 2-2. And all I could think of was, oh, you gotta be kidding me. You absolutely gotta be kidding me. And you cannot give up these goals.
It was the exact inverse of what we did in the first period.
That's exactly what I was thinking too, right?
That goal was a little annoying for me because Hakanpää let Perron beat him to the front of the net off the faceoff, which is frustrating, but it was still just a great tip in. So
Hakanpää, you're a monster. Just push it.
That's what I was thinking. That's I'm like, how are you the biggest guy on the ice and let him beat you to the front of the net like that?
Yeah, he out-muscled him, which is crazy. I mean, credit to him, but man, Hakanpää, you're bigger than that, dude.
He's got to use that giraffe-sized frame he's got. He's enormous. He's got to use it more. So that ends the second period, tied 2-2. Second period was, like you said, Chris, the complete inverse of the first period. Dallas was the better team. Now, they did get more power play opportunities, so I was a little frustrated with the fact that they didn't take advantage of it, but they looked okay on the power play. They looked okay.
We really drew those power play opportunities, too. Those power plays came from really good offensive play, but both times, so.
Well, and getting hit in the face with a stick.
Yeah, the third one, I won't take credit for, but the first two were very good.
Yep. So getting into the third, this is when we already kind of talked about it, and I'm glad we already talked about it, but it was going to be a talking point for me here. We see the lines kind of jumbled a little bit for the forwards, and we kind of already mentioned it, but I liked seeing the Ben, Garrionoff, Johnston line together, and I was like, oh, okay, that could be kind of interesting because Ben's got a lot of chemistry with Johnston, and Gary in the past has played really well with Jamie Benn on a line. So, maybe this is something they will go back to for the next game because, yes, they played okay today. They played well enough to win, but I felt like they should have dominated this game if they're going to be one of the best teams in the league. And that was just a feeling.
The past 3 games, the forwards have really struggled to score, is what it feels like. And it's not due to lack of chances, like James was saying. We just haven't found somebody else to put the puck in the net since Jason Robertson cooled off from being the surface temperature of the sun. So moving those bottom 3 lines around definitely should help that.
And I think the biggest change with moving Gurry to that third line is that it moved Delandria up to the second line, and that made the second line look really dangerous. And they had probably the best chance on the night that wasn't scored.
Yeah, the beginning of the season, the second line was rivaling the first line in how good they were. So, yeah, like seeing that again.
You got to think Delandria is going to get rewarded at some point, right? He's slightly getting rewarded.
I can't
believe
Husso saved that goal.
Yeah.
That was an insane save.
That was the best save of the night on Delandria.
And that's what I was kind of getting at is the fact that the Stars, they didn't look fantastic in the third period, but they looked better than the Red Wings. And they were getting chance after chance after chance. And there was like nothing going, towards Ottinger. Ottinger was bored down there.
And Husso was fantastic in the third period, the same way Ottinger was fantastic in the first. So this whole game was like just a lot of flip-flops.
And then Razor and Josh kind of started talking about this startling statistic. Thankfully, it hasn't, made them suffer all that much, the Stars. But they talked about that Dallas has only had a lead 2 out of the last 11 games going into the third period. When at the beginning of the season, it seemed like that's the only thing the Stars could do is have a multi-goal lead going into the third period. So yes, it's good to know that, as we've seen in the past 2 weeks or so, maybe even 3 weeks, that we can score in bunches in the third period and, tie up a game or go to overtime and get the extra point or whatever. But I really would like to see the Stars maybe dominate in the first and second period like they did earlier in the season.
Well,
Yeah.
I think that you're not wrong about that, but also the fact that we just won back-to-back overtime games after losing 5 straight is showing that the team's really growing because of that. So it's not great that we're having to do that 9 out of the last 11 games, but it's great that now we're winning those games.
That's what I was about to say. For me, it's a net positive because we can win games in a myriad of ways now, which at the beginning of the season, we were worried. We were like, hey, we're not winning any 1-goal games. Boom, back-to-back for 2 games, we got 1-goal game wins. So it's very good to see them win in a myriad of ways.
And I am excited about that. But if I'm going to be devil's advocate here, look at who we've played the past 2 games. We played Ottawa the Senators, who have really struggled out of the gate, even though they're playing better. And we played Detroit, who, despite them being... Go ahead, James.
But again, that's 2 bad teams that were starting to look better. Like, they were in good stretches of their games. It's not like we were playing them like after they fell off right at the beginning of the season. They're starting to look better, and we were still able to scrap out wins against them.
I wouldn't say the Red Wings are a bad team at all. They have a winning NHL record. They're in a wild card spot. They're a playoff team. They're a good team. Y'all trashing them,
and they have Billy Husso.
I'm just I'm just being devil's advocate here. I'm not saying I agree with some people on Twitter, but I'm just saying
you call a bad team, and that's pretty ridiculous.
What did I say at the beginning? I said that Detroit has looked really good, and they're going to look really scary over the next decade. They've had some players. Well, anyways, Dellandrea gets that opportunity like we talked about. Robo would hit the post with 30 seconds left. I'm like, oh, if only. And Razor with the quote of the night, preschool teacher patience. I love that. Absolutely love that. We go to overtime. Second time in as many games for the Dallas Stars. For the first 2.5 minutes, absolutely nothing happened.
Yeah. The Red Wings just skated it back and forth.
Yeah.
And it literally led to 1 shot, which ended up being blocked and sent up into the rafters. Yeah. Boring.
I'm so annoyed at the past 2 overtimes we've had, because both of them have been the other team winning the first faceoff, skating around for 2 minutes, and then sending it out of play. Getting nothing. It's been so boring.
And Razor talked about how they need to add something to stop that from happening. And I'm going to bring up my proposal that I think is genius. They need to add a half-court violation like they have in basketball just to overtime. So once you cross the red line, you're not allowed to go back. You can go back across the blue line, but then you're trapped in your little square. And so I think if you go across the red line of your own volition, then it should be face off in your own zone. And that's what we should do to fix it, because it's stupid. That whole first 2.5 minutes was the most boring hockey of the night, and it was 3-on-3 overtime. Come on.
Yeah, and I don't have as much of a problem with it if the other team actually gets a good chance off of it, but more often than not, they don't.
They weren't trying. They weren't trying to get into the zone.
Yeah, our players were out there for 2 minutes, and we weren't even covering them, and they were still skating it out of the offensive zone.
They were just trying to waste the clock and get either a perfect chance or get the last chance. That was all they were doing.
It's so lame.
Look at us complaining about overtime where we actually won.
I'll complain
because it's annoying.
I know.
This is why I have a podcast.
Right. This is what I'm not disagreeing with you at all, because yes, there needs to be something done, but I don't know what the answer is. Maybe we can talk about that more Wednesday night too. Half-court violation, Chris says.
Go back to 4-on-4 overtime.
No. Absolutely no.
We just keep flipping it back and forth. We just keep flipping it back and forth until someone figures it out.
Wait, how about 2-on-0 goalie shootouts?
Yes, perfect.
There you go. Anyways, Lundqvist scores, a guy who couldn't deserve it more with how he's been playing ever since being scratched. He gets his goal off of his only shot of the game. And again, it's Mason Marchment who has the pass. So he's important in this game, gets 2 primary assists. It's a 2-on-1 for Dallas. Absolute great play there. Lundqvist goes 5-hole. Dallas gets the second point. What'd y'all think of the overtime period, other than the whole boring crap at the beginning?
That was
Well,
the
the
whole
Stars
thing,
played it
Ryan.
very well.
That was the entire thing. Was that
Yeah, that was the whole
the Red Wings skated around for however long, didn't even get a chance. We got the puck for 10 seconds, got a chance, and scored on it.
Yeah, pretty much.
Maybe that's what we need to do from now on. I'm joking here, by the way. We just need to let them win the faceoff, let them run out the clock for 4.5 minutes, and then get a chance with 30 seconds remaining in overtime.
And by the way, that first faceoff, Larkinen was completely all the way over the red dot, and they didn't call him on it.
Right.
Yeah.
Ben
So
was pissed.
that was really frustrating. That was probably the more frustrating thing to me, honestly, is that he won it like that, and then they had the puck for 2.5 minutes.
All right, guys. What happened in today's game? What's your biggest takeaway out of this, or what's something positive, negative you can think of?
My biggest takeaway is that Ottinger beat Huso, and the Stars just have more skill than the Red Wings, and that's what it really came down to. I feel like I thought we played pretty evenly throughout the night, and those two things gave the Stars the edge.
I thought Otter had a great night. I think that especially now with it wasn't just his save percentage and stuff in this game, it was how he looked in the game. He looked calm like he had been before, and he was making smart plays, and he was staying in position. I don't think there was one point in time where I thought he was out of position for a shot. I mean, it looked great tonight.
He played very well again tonight. I just wish he would control his rebounds just a little bit. That's it. I mean, everything else he's doing is fantastic, and what he's been doing the past, I'd say, 3 games. The last 3 games he's been in, he's played fantastically. I want to get on Marchman a little bit too, though. Marchman has looked really good, and obviously with the 2 points tonight, primary assist, he looked great. Garyanov looked great tonight as well. Obviously with the goal completely against the flow of play in the first period, but he's using that speed again, and he needs to continue to use that speed. I can't think of anything else other than that. So let's just get into our biggest winner and biggest loser. What y'all think?
I'll give my biggest winner to Lundqvist just because of how he responded to being scratched, the homestand that he had, and the points that he got after playing so well. I mean, just a great response from him to a tough situation. So very happy with Lundqvist. I think it's going to be good for the Stars for a while.
Yeah. I'm going to go with Marchment. He had the most shots on the night with 5. He couldn't get one to go in, but he had those 2 pretty sick primary assists. So he had a great night.
I'm going to give mine to Mr. Dennis Garyanov because he finally gets rewarded, and he's finally been using his speed for the past, especially 3 games. I'd say maybe 4 games, mostly the last 3 games. We've really seen him use that speed. He needs to continue to use it, and he will get rewarded more often than not. And he got rewarded today by getting to play with Ben and Johnston, which, I mean, in some cases, they've been better than our second line has. So that's important for Garyanov, and I hope we see him continue that trajectory. Who's your biggest loser tonight?
I'm not giving a biggest loser to anyone. I thought this game was honestly really well played by both teams, and it was overall pretty solid from our full roster, I thought.
I'll take a biggest loser. That's a cop out, James. I hate that. My biggest loser is Foxa. I don't think he played good enough to be on the second line at all. I didn't like it there at any point in time, and he's off of it now. I'm happy about that.
But I mean, when he moved back to the 4th line, I still thought he looked amazing on the 4th line. So.
I don't think it was him. I think it was Kivy and Glendening. Fox is stealing glory.
I'm going to give my biggest loser to the start time of this game. It sucks. I'm just kidding. No, I'm just kidding.
Like that.
No, that's fair. That's fair.
It's hard to pick one tonight because like you said, James, I'll agree with you, and I'll cop out too, and Kristen can hate me for it, but both teams played well today. They did. And I'm excited to see how the Red Wings go, over the course of the next 2, 3, 4 years, because they're going to be a powerhouse. They're going to be very scary. But the Stars do take advantage today, and they get the win. So anything else that we need to talk about this afternoon, you guys, before we close out?
Upcoming road trip looks scary. Monday, we have Pittsburgh, who's playing very well this season. Then the day after, we're playing the best team in hockey, the Devils, on a back-to-back.
But it's okay because they lost to the Islanders, so now we can beat them too.
Yes, exactly. They're in a slump now. That's what
Exactly.
it
It's a
is.
slump.
Yeah, it's
All
a
right.
1-game slump. Yeah.
Let's go.
And then you got the Canes on Saturday after you play the Capitals. So tough week upcoming. You're gonna have to. I would say if we get half, we'd be happy.
I agree with you on that assessment there because especially with Carolina, who has been pretty steady the whole season, Pittsburgh is on a hot streak right now. They've been very up and down all season. And yeah, the Devils have just been fantastic this year. I don't know where that came from, but they're doing fantastic. So we'll see how they do in this upcoming road trip this upcoming week. So, well, go guys. We'd appreciate it if you guys would go and check out sarcasticremarkshop.com. Check out all the latest merch options from us. There are no bath curtains, unfortunately.
Toiletry
Chris.
bags.
There's no toiletry
bathroom
bags.
waste baskets.
There's no
shower
waste baskets.
caps.
There's no shower caps. And then
Why not?
Go and why not? Why not?
Why not?
And also go and check out sarcasticremarks.com, our brand new website we've had for just a little while.
Super
And
cool website.
It is very cool. Very cool. One of y'all needs to write a blog post instead of just me because I
working
get
on it,
chewed out all
man.
the time. I get chewed out all the time for my blog posts. So
Man, people like to argue on a blog post, man.
they do. They do. Anyways, along with Chris and along with James, my name is Ryan. We will catch you guys on the flip side, and we hope you guys have a good, fantastic morning, afternoon, evening, whenever y'all are listening. Christian, take us out.
GG, boys.
See you guys later.